them?
Yeah, it was fun.
Of course. Of course.
Of course. It took like friggin' 7 years for me to hop it.
Look, I haven't had time. Okay. I haven't had the time.
So have I, but then it was like, and then they had all the DLC free for 1 week. Well, let me try this since everything in it is free right now. This is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have a PS5, so I might as well do it.
Wait, you got a PS5? Did we talk about this?
No, I haven't really talked about it a ton, but I got one. In the spur and flurry of me buying all my audio equipment, I had extra budget money left over. So then I was like, I'm going to buy fun stuff.
Well, there you go. All right. Good. That's good. See, I'm glad you're taking care of yourself. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, since we got time crunch, I'll just get to it. I'll get to it. You know. Pull that up. Hello, everyone on the internet. We don't have anyone viewing live yet, but this is Commander Ship, joined by Ace Trainer Jerry.
Hi.
Hey. Hadn't been on the show in a while because the show hadn't been on. But hey, week 2, we're back, get the steam going. And Jerry's, you see his little icon there at the bottom. So he's not on video. He's traveling around doing stuff today. So he'll join me in audio. And I'll just kind of prompt what's going on to talk on the show. And then, because we had a lot to happen at the end. So this is your State of the Nerd Union for 30 September. And the obvious one was going to be Deadpool. That's what we were going to kick it off with. But literally 3 hours ago, we got news about Community. The Community movie, we teased this I guess it was 2 months ago. So the whole hashtag 6 seasons of the movie. Peacock has confirmed a Community movie will be heading to its platform at some time. They haven't given us a year, haven't given us a date. We know Danny Pudi as Abed, Joe McHale as Jeff, Allison Brie as Annie, Gillian Jacobs as Britta, King Joan as Chang, and Jim Rash as Dean Pelton will be back. No word yet on Donald Glover, and definitely no word on Chevy Chase yet. So we don't know about that. And the one name that I kind of glossed over and didn't see it the first time, Yvette Nicole Brown is not confirmed either as Shirley. So, yeah, that one was Chevy Chase makes sense. He was basically out by the end of season 4. They wrote him out officially in season 5. So that's not surprising. Glover might be more of a schedule thing. I know if we thought there was conflict, I think that's been squashed. So it may for him, it might just be schedule. But Yvette Nicole Brown was surprising. I didn't expect that.
I wonder if she's busy working too.
She is doing a lot of voice acting. So maybe that was it. Because she doesn't, as far as I could tell on IMDb, she doesn't have any current projects that she's actively working on in like a TV series sense, but she's doing a lot of voice acting series. So I don't know, maybe that. So I'm not trying to be like, you're not doing anything. It's like, I don't mean it that way. It's just, I thought throughout the year, she's been really positive about wanting to be on the movie or have knocked that out. So it's just surprising not seeing her on it. Glover and Chase has always been weird. So I get it. Her is a little more like, that's surprising. You excited?
Yeah, I honestly didn't think this was gonna happen ever, and now we're getting news. It's like, oh no, this is real. It's like, oh wait, what? We can be excited, for real excited. Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm also curious, how it's going to be in a movie format because we've never really seen Community in that kind of extended time period. It's supposed to be one cohesive plot.
Well, I think it could be something that could be cool is maybe vignettes. So maybe the movie is 2 hours, 2 hours 15, something like that. But it's kind of broken up into Tarantino style vignettes, in a Inglourious Bastards or a Pulp Fiction kind of way, which would also be a nod to the show and be referring to itself, referring to a movie, referring to it, that'd be really cool. The other things
Abed.
Say it again.
I was gonna say it would fit Abed very well for like something like that to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, Abe gets them back together because he finally got his chance at shooting a movie, and he wants them to be in it. So yeah, I'm very curious. We did not hear about Paget Brewster or Keith David, who were in the last 2 seasons. So that's another one where I'm kind of like, because I really like season 6 of Community. I know it was the end, so it didn't have the same feel, and Glover was gone, so like I get it, but like that was still a really strong season. So I hope they aren't treated like ostracized cast members. Like get them there. Yeah, but hey, we're gonna have an article on the site with all my theories and speculation. So go check that out. Jerry.
Yo.
Do you know Google Stadia is dead?
To the surprise of no one at all.
Exactly.
But also, I found something else out. Water's wet. So there's that.
We don't have a scientific definition for what wet is.
I'm angry that that's accurate.
we have some ways we consider it, but we don't actually have a way to. Sorry, I'll nerd on that. As long as I think it's wet and slick. I think those are two concepts. It's like we know what we mean as human beings when we say that, but we don't actually have a way to reliably say like this is how we. I mean, someone might say viscosity.
I went tangent on this a while ago, but like I just never understood. Okay, I never understood the purpose of Stadia, like at all. Like I didn't understand what it was supposed to be. Like even when I was like beta testing it, I was like, so we're gonna change the game. We still have to pay for the games, but it's like all we're doing is streaming it. We're not paying for like publishing or like physical thing. I'm paying so much for these games. Like what's the point? I don't understand what the point of me doing this on Stadia versus like Steam or some other cloud platform. Like, what's the point?
I think the biggest thing would have been they from the get-go, and I know they tried doing some past things in the as well, but it really should have launched like an Xbox Game Pass from the get-go, because that would have taken care of your content. And it would have been like, here's a lower cost option. If you're going to pay more and have really good internet, and you really don't want to pay for consoles and stuff, and you're just like, I don't want to own a high-end PC. I don't really want a PS5 or a Xbox. I'm more in that Nintendo Switch area, kind of in like far as game, like the amount of games I want to play. I think that's where Stadia could have carved out a niche and really done well, but they just never got the content right. Because why am I paying full price for these games on a streaming connection? If you're doing it on the PlayStation or the Xbox, you're already committed in that. Like, I bought the system, I'm still buying physical or digital games. So at the end of the day, even if I can't stream my game when I go on vacation, I know when I get back home, I'm going to be good. Like that experience is going to be solid. So they can be okay with a streaming experience elsewhere being a little bit not as good. But I'm gonna pay full price. I'm gonna pay $50 for Horizon Zero. I mean, I know it didn't come on Stadia, but like for example, Horizon Forbidden West, I'm gonna pay full $60, $70 for that, and it not be good.
Yeah, it just doesn't track. I'm just like, I don't understand like what your game plan and what you're going for here is. Like, is it just to like try to profit off the convenience of it? Because I get that, but you're also not giving me financial incentive to go with your direction on that either.
Yeah. I have said this before.
So I just didn't understand what the goal was.
Nintendo needs to buy it. They need to call Google. I told them that I said this before. They need to call Google a year ago when it looked like Stadia was going to falter. So they really should have been on the phone already. Just pick up the phone, be like, Google, how much do you want for that base of subscribers? Add them to the Nintendo online platform, right? Because you've already got some streaming options, some Nintendo cloud gaming on there, and just get them all up. Plus, that will probably get them to buy a Switch, which will be their more concrete experience, and then you give them the streaming experience for the higher end games that the Switch just can't run. Like, I don't know why I'm having to, like, Nintendo of America, if you're listening, which I know you are, do it tomorrow. That's a slam dunk. I'm just giving these.
Plus, the timing would work out really well because, like, the Switch has been out for a hot minute now. You could pivot into something like really cool. If you uploaded like all of your OG stuff to it, like Super Nintendo Cloud Anthology, like I would be on that 100% instantly.
Bingo. This is not hard. God, plus it extends. I mean, Steve keeps saying we're never going to get a 4K Switch, and he's probably right. Just for like the hardware and the size of it. Like, I get it. He's probably right.
Yeah.
But how long can the Switch last without like another update that's not like the OLED? I don't know. But if you can stream, you probably extend the life of the Switch out a lot longer. So just something they should consider, don't you think? Yeah.
Or if you could figure out a software that you could integrate into the current Switch and like change the programming, that all you have to do is buy a dock.
Yeah, which again is the problem with the Wii U. Really, the Switch should have come out when the Wii U did, so that now we could be talking about a Wii U that has that, already has your base console, right? So you get better experience when you're at home, right? And then you just take a different experience when you're, it's like taking a lower end PC out and about, and then you get your better rig when you're at home. Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, got potential. I just don't know why they're not doing it. But we also never really know what Nintendo's up to. So there's that.
We never do.
Because we didn't know that the Switch was coming. And then all of a sudden the Switch came out. And it was like the best thing ever. Which, we don't have a 4K Switch. But I, to this day, will like defend that the Switch is one of the best gaming purchases I've ever made. So
for sure. You realize how much we don't talk about the graphics of it anymore?
Yeah. No. Just play it wherever and whenever we want.
So just silly. Which you think they would, like, when they made the Wii, I think it should have proven that like a good concept will beat the graphics every day. Like, I don't want to get into a PC tangent, but sometimes when people are complaining about frame rates and resolution stuff, and I'm just like, who cares? Is the game good? Do you want to go back and replay that game multiple times? Because if the answer is yes, then we can figure out that. And I get it. Having the highest end thing is a lot of like, there is some fun there and tuning and trying to like overclock and get the best thing. So but that's
not for everybody.
Yes, exactly. It's not for. I think there's a big reason, aside from phones being in everyone's hands, that mobile gaming is dominated. I don't think it's just for convenience. I think also it's just a simplicity of like, I can just pick that game up, start, stop at any point I want to, and the cost is whatever I've contractually got from my phone. Like,
yeah,
easy.
That's what I was thinking earlier. The only complaint, the only complaint that I have about the Switch is.
All right, folks, we might have lost Jerry. Let me see if I can. Jerry, you still there?
I'm here. I just apparently. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry about that. It's the downside of driving.
It's totally all right. We got a few more things to cover on the quick hits. So, folks, if you're watching and want to chime in, definitely let us know. We can see your chat on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So, definitely love to include your comment and throw it on the stream so people can hear what you have to say. And obviously, if you watch this later, we can't do that. So, State and Nerd Union's on afternoons and Friday now. So you gotta be ready, gotta be prepared. All right. These last two, Blade loses its director 3 weeks before filming starts. This came out earlier in the week, so it's darn near 2 weeks remaining. They are probably not going to be able to keep that filming schedule. So everyone's freaking out, but just put some context. So Bassem Tariq decided to step down. Tariq is just going into a producing role, though. So it seems like he just didn't want to direct the movie, which is a key distinction. Like, people, like, if someone just leaves a movie production, that's kind of a bigger, like, they're just completely out That's a bigger thing. From what we've heard, this sounds more like scheduling issues because he has some other things coming up as well. So Marvel directorial shifts are not. It happens. It actually happens a lot more than people think. Just most recently, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Originally, you had Scott Derrickson was going to be on it. Sam Raimi came in to complete it. So, I mean, that was just last year. So, or sorry, it came out this year, but that was just last year. So, really, I mean, should be concerned because I know filming was about to start, but I think it would be okay. I think Marvel probably knew this was going to happen. This is just the announcement coming out about it.
Yeah. I am interested though that like the script was like apparently really only had like 2 action sequences or something, and I'm like, and they weren't really good. And I'm like,
Yeah, that was
you have a fantastic cast going here, and you have Blade. Like, how is this hard to figure out, guys?
Right. And Mashallah Ali wants to do action. Like, come on, this is not.
Yeah, I want to see him do action. I'm like, this would be great. Let's do it.
I do have a recommendation though, because let's see, if Hodori Coker, I'm trying to remember his last name. He did, Hodori Coker did Luke Cage. So him and Marshall have already worked together.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
Just he's already been in the Marvel universe before. Obviously, it was the TV shows, but like, I think it'd be a good way to bring someone that's worked well in the universe and just bring them back into the fold. So I think at least spin up wise in Marvel, that would be very little. So
yeah. Plus, like the episode that Luke Cage that he was in, like, were some of the best television I've ever seen in my life. So
it was really good. Those are really good episodes.
Yeah. I like to that that's all of Luke Cage for me because it was just that daggum good.
Cottonmouth is such a good, so good.
Yeah.
So good. And lastly, for the quick hits, the Witcher prequel series is coming out Christmas Day in 2022. Season 3 follow-up will be in summer of 2023. So we don't know a date exactly in the summer for Witcher Season 3, but Witcher Blood Origin, the prequel series, you'll get to enjoy that, have that all drop on Christmas Day. So that came out on Netflix's Tadum website. So really excited for that.
Yay!
You don't
watch The Witcher. I don't. I'm still trying to work through The Witcher 3, honestly, because it's forever long.
It is forever long. You can be in that forever. You can be in that for a long time.
Persona 5 at the same time, so that was a decision.
So is this a bad time to tell you there's more Persona 5 content that just came out? Or is about to come out?
Where?
All right, you just stay away from it, Jerry. Don't do it. Don't buy it.
Track too much.
Okay. Next up in our For the Cinephiles segment, Darth Vader has gone to the AI side of the Force. If you remember last week, we were talking about Ninja Theory using AI voices as placeholders in their games. Well, James Earl Jones, the iconic voice of Lord Vader, is stepping down and allowing recordings of his work to continue on in perpetuity as Star Wars, as the universe, games, movies, stuff like that, needs his voice on live action. Which is, I don't know, Jerry, how you feel about that?
I think it's a weird pick or a weird choice. One, because like y'all got to move past the original. I love the original actors, first of all. Love them. They're great. Y'all have to move past them if you ever want to use these characters again. And honestly, like, I get that James Earl Jones is iconic, but I know how to do that in editing. And so I'm like, you can do that without him. You just need a specific voice range type and a specific like character or actor who understands the character. And that's it. And I feel like you could find that, like, if you wanted to. So I don't understand going through the hassle of using his lines that he's already recorded over and over again. Mostly because, like, I don't know, for me as an editor, that's like way more difficult than taking someone with a bass voice or a baritone voice and turning their voice into Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that choice.
Yeah.
Well, it's like James Earl Jones had that as part of the contract for them to use any of his stuff or something, unless there's some contract thing going on that I don't know about.
And that's what he signed. That's what he signed over. But it's like that's why the Luke appearance at the end of Mandalorian, like, out a spoiler for folks. I mean, come on, if you haven't watched, but anyway, like, really, like, and as much as we've talked about Sebastian Stan being like right there, like just tap him to play Luke. It's like just tell us he's Luke Skywalker in the modern, in this era of Star Wars. Sorry, and we'll be good. You know.
Okay, but you had the actor in Book of Boba Fett, and they did move on because the actor in Book of Boba Fett isn't him.
No, I'm saying that was still CGI Luke, right?
No, that's a different actor.
Go
look it up.
I don't,
because I thought it was too, and then I looked it up afterwards. I was like, "Holy cow, that's a different person."
Okay, I'll double check. Sorry, I thought it was still CG Luke.
Nope, that's what I thought too, because it looked that much like him. I was like, okay, clearly we can move on. So like, why are we not?
Jerry, if I get off here and I find out that's CGI Luke, I'm a mail a slap to your house. Don't ask. I don't know how it's gonna work. I'm gonna mail a slap to your house.
I'm pretty sure I still have a slap on somebody, actually.
Probably not.
That's another.
Next up, this one makes me. On the one hand, I get it because I don't necessarily ever want to tell anyone to like not go get your money, in the sense of like taking money out of someone's pocket. You got to feed yourself and do stuff like that. So I get that. But on the other hand, if you're that upset with a company for how they operate, then like, what are you doing? So this is about Hannah Gadsby is signed a new deal with Netflix, and they've been pretty open about how much they have despised Netflix's openness towards Dave Chappelle and other anti-trans comedians on the platform. So then you re-sign a multi-gig deal with that same company. Like, there's other streamers that would probably take your comedy, right? And there's other streamers that are actively trying to find comedians and kind of build their own comedy cachet on their streaming platform. So it just seems like you could move somewhere else and not have to continue supporting the same company that you've lambasted. Like, that's a head scratcher. So like, I want to applaud them for their continued success. That's cool, but this just doesn't jive to me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're one of the few people that's actually in a really strong position to do that. Also, like, you know, me, little Commander Ship, I don't have a lot of sway in that kind of sense. But you know, when you're commanding multi-million-dollar deals, like, come on now, come on.
Yeah, I agree. Like, just pretty much, I agree.
Yeah,
not pretty much. I'd like totally. But
yeah. So not mad. Just like we can do better. Come on, we can do better. I believe in you. Next up, one of my favorite series, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, will be the title for the next entry, set at the conclusion of War for the Planet of the Apes. And if you're wondering how many times I can say Planet of the Apes in one sentence before it gets annoying, we just found it out. That was a mouthful.
Got more in.
What's that?
So I feel like you got more in the tank there.
No, I mean, we could keep going, but it would just, the naming convention for these movies, I've said, as much as I love them, has gotten stupid. But I think it's just like you're in so far that you just got to commit to it. You know, I think it's like I was thinking about the same thing of another series, and now I'm blanking on. I was joking last week about Legend of Zelda, because I'm glad they did Tears of the Kingdom and not Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom, because that would have been terrible. That would have been just an awful mouthful. So I'm glad they didn't do that.
Proof. But hey, I'm gonna hop out for a second because I've got almost at my first destination.
Cool. I'll see you in a bit. I'm all alone. Let's see. So, folks, Kingdom of the Planet Apes will not include Matt Reeves, who directed the last two films. He just took over on the Batman. Probably working on that sequel, so won't have time to direct another Apes movie. But I think when he stepped in, it honestly made that trilogy much better. So I'm kind of sad to see that. But we do know who it's going to star, which would be Owen Teague, Freya Allen from The Witcher, and Peter McCann from The Orville, and set to be directed by Wes Bell. He's done the Maze Runner films, and those have been okay. Like, I'm not saying they're bad, not saying they're good. They've just been okay. So hopefully he can continue the same energy that Reeves had with the previous Apes films, and that's a high bar because War for the Planet of the Apes made me cry over CGI monkey. Like, literally, that ending scene with Caesar was pretty good. So that's how high that bar is for me. The writers on the script, though, what gives me the hope, and that's not, I'm not going to director, but Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, who worked on the first two films, are also joined by Josh Friedman and Patrick Azen. They wrote Prey, which you might have just seen on Hulu. So at least in the writing department, it's got a group of fantastic writers, and maybe that will help Wes Bell even like put together even better film, having a better script behind it. So kind of excited for that. All right, next up, this topic keeps making the rounds. We've talked about it on the show quite a bit with Netflix gaming division. They've confirmed that the division is starting up in Helsinki, Finland, but it's still going to take a few years before it can really take off. And that's not surprising, especially if Netflix has no experience doing gaming, and they've grabbed some pretty impressive talent to come over and work on the team. But if you had any hopes of streaming games on a Netflix platform, just hold your horses because they're focused on mobile gaming first. So that's what they confirmed on their website, and Engadget reported on that as well. So it still sounds like it's going to be years away, and when it does come, it's going to be on your phone, not projected on your TV. And that's all we got for Cinephiles. But again, we said that in the Netflix department because we're getting ready to transition to game time. And this one I'm including because I really did not like the reporting on it. I think it's a little dishonest. So Video Games, the creator of Beast Breaker, is shutting down. They weren't able to find funding for their next game that they were going to do. Video Games had made history as one of the first studios to be unionized, and that's the headline that everyone kind of took off with. And I think it makes the assumption where I think that's dangerous as an editorial decision is if you put that first, it makes it seem as if the company failed because they became unionized, which is, I think that's just dishonest. At least from what they have reported, they just weren't able to find funding for their next game that they wanted to release, couldn't find a publisher. So they, again, effectively, as a small studio, they had to shut down. But now, if we find out later there was cost overruns due to being unionized, that's a different story. But really disappointing the way that's been reported across the landscape. So just, again, it is an important detail to put out there. That's why I'm bringing that up. Also, it's like, yes, it's great history that they were one of the first unionized studios. But if you only put that front and foremost, kind of makes it seem like that's the key reason that they failed. And this one, see, sometimes when leaks like this happen, it makes me wonder who actually leaked it. A Twitter user posted, we got some great photos, which we'll include in the show notes, that the Meta Pro VR headset might have been left in a hotel room. Someone found it, took a look at it, looked at the controllers, looked at the headset, posted a bunch of photos on it online. It looks really close to some of the original Lenovo VR headsets, but really way slimmed down, even compared to the current Meta Quest headsets, which is not surprising also because Lenovo partnered with Oculus, now Meta, when they did the previous Rift headsets, specifically the Rift S. So it's honestly not surprising that they're continuing that and that it looks similar to some of the HoloLens or kind of the Lenovo VR headsets. Dun, 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 dun. Also, I did not know Sims 4 has been out nearly a decade. And if you haven't played it, it will be free to play starting October 18th. Any expansions, though, you'll still have to pay for those on your own. And if you already paid for the game, you'll get the newest expansion for free. So that starts October 18th. All right. And that takes us to our last segment of the day, Check the Tech. And we got some Usually, I'm pretty adversarial to Amazon. We could talk about that one for a while. But they actually done something pretty cool if you're a creator or specifically a writer on Amazon if you're trying to release an ebook. So there's going to be an update to their ebook policies specifically for returns. So if you've read 10% or more of a book, you can no longer return that ebook. And effectively, what could happen is you could read quite a bit of a book, return it, at least digitally, get your money back, and now that writer is out money that they should have had rightfully because you spent the time reading that book. It'd be like going into a bookstore, spending a bunch of time in there reading, and never paying for anything. Technically, could you physically do it? Sure, but you're really not giving money to that author. If you want to do that, you can go to a library. Where you actually, you're in your car. That's a free service to do that, and you spend how many hours you want in the library. It's a different thing. And specifically for people that are banking on the ebook sales that they're going to get on Amazon, if you're doing that, it really hurts them. So surprisingly, this is a really good policy for Amazon and for the writers. So I will give kudos when kudos is due. So there you go, Amazon. It's the only time, probably one of the only times I'll applaud for you. Next up, if you love your favorite artists on Spotify, they are testing a new direct ticket sale feature. Of course, no word on how they're going to combat resellers and bots, but that's a battle for another day. Select artists are having a feature rolled out on their artist pages on Spotify. So whenever they have tickets coming up in your area, you've already seen announcements and schedule announcements for when shows are coming up in your area on Spotify. But now you'd actually be able to buy the ticket directly on Spotify without having to go to Ticketmaster or go somewhere else to buy those tickets. Or even if the seller does it directly on their website, you'll be directed to that specifically, no longer having to deal with other companies. So I actually think this could be really cool, especially if Spotify allows it to be put out to every artist. I am curious, and what we don't know is what fees or splits they're getting from that. So that remains to be seen. And in the end, our Check the Tech, we actually got two Google segments to talk about. One is beneficial for me as a website owner. It's actually beneficial for me that Google is cracking down on garbage search results. And specifically, they've got a new thing called Helpful Content Update. And this is designed to hopefully push down a lot of content that's considered to be low quality or unoriginal. How they're making that determination, it's a little waiting for a little more fleshed out detail on that. Although Google, to their credit, has talked about their SEO practices and how the algorithm picks some of that out, and really about if you're just aggregating, copy pasting, reposting things that have already been said, like a news outlet's already put that information out, and whether you're actually plagiarizing or not, we could have that debate. But it looks very similar, so almost as basically is plagiarism. Is that those sites are just getting click-through traffic from just repasted articles. That's what they're trying to push down on, because that's not actually helping, and they're just kind of making a lot of noise, making a lot of traffic. So for someone here, myself, that works a lot to put out reviews and hopefully put out good information, hope people are liking information we put out. This is a really good news for us here at Nerd Union. Hopefully it will put more useful and more education-based content out there that people actually want, and get a lot of these frivolous article sites, because there's a lot of bad sites out there. But just as I say that, Google's monopoly on search is being challenged by the Department of Justice. This is the second antitrust lawsuit that's been put against them by the DOJ. There's also a Texas lawsuit that's going on. Justice Department also put one back out in 2020 regarding unfair search-related advertising, specifically related to Android. And this one will be this specific lawsuit coming out this month, I suppose probably today, is regarding the digital ad market. So specifically how they're dominating ads that are being put out on the internet. We could, I do want to talk longer on this, but we got to have a hard cap to the show today because I'm getting ready to travel, get on the road. So maybe this is ripe for an article to talk about it more. But as cool as it is that when we think about search, we just think about Googling it, You just immediately go to Google to take care of a lot of things. The problem that comes with that is if that is your main portal for which you see the world or that you find any piece of information, it's not necessarily great. And if you look at search share, as far as the actual share of how you find information on the internet, Google dominates it well in the 90th percentile. Like it's not even close. There's been attempts. Other companies are trying. We won't talk about Bing. DuckDuckGo is pretty good, especially from a privacy standpoint. I actually do recommend them. We're not getting paid to say that. I like DuckDuckGo. That's who I use personally, even though I still have some Google products. So it's not saying I don't hate Google. It's all their products, but just when it comes to search, they have dominated that. And when they make changes or make shifts in how things are, even an algorithm, when we talked about frivolous, like quote unquote frivolous content, that does create a huge market shift. It's not just saying we're going to improve our algorithm. You're literally making changes that affect business owners up and down the ladder. So I'm glad that the Department of Justice is actually going to look into this. What's going to result from it, though, I don't know. And it's not just our Department of Justice, EU, European Union, other departments around the world are also really starting to dive and dig into this. And we talked about the news aggregation last week. So this is just continue to be directly tied into that as well. And hopefully this means that even if you like these companies and these ones that you want to work with or buy products from in the future, that this just means they get to run ethically and in a better way, and better integrated in a way that works with the online community, with society as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean that they're all evil and bad, although we can talk about that more. So it doesn't have to mean that, but it does mean like if you're going to continue to operate as one of the biggest search engines in the world, that it probably is going to have to come with certain responsibilities and regulation from the public. Sorry, that even if you don't like that, then maybe you shouldn't operate. Yep. All right, and that's it for Check the Tech. Next up, and our last thing we talked about at the beginning of the show, but community took over, so we wanted to make that a high priority. But this week, we really were blessed on the internet with Ryan Reynolds kicking off the campaign for Deadpool 3 with a fantastic video of Hugh Jackman coming in, agreeing to it, and Whitney Houston playing over the background. And then the next morning, yesterday morning, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, quote unquote, trying to spoil the movie. We've had readers already tell us that they didn't really say a bunch. It was just about Wolverine stabbing Deadpool stabbing Wolverine with a sword. Did not do anything because they're healing factors. That's about the gist of what they said, which is also beautiful because they played music over that. It's just if you needed a example of some just beautiful marketing setup, like that's it. Just everyone. I don't need you to copy it. Don't everyone just go rush out and copy Deadpool campaign, but super creative. Really loved it, and I think the internet is just a buzz. I hope the movie lives up to the image I have of it in my head now. That's a whole other thing, but I'm really excited. So that's what we'll end off because we don't have any other major stories for the week. We're not going to cover the Try Guys thing. There's plenty of other YouTubers that have done that, so they've got it. That's kind of the biggest things for us. There's a lot coming out next week. A lot of things to cover next week. We got a lot of movie stuff to cover next week. Content Not Found, our new movie podcast and show, will be out next week. So I'm super excited about that. And if you're on Patreon, you just got our update a couple mornings ago about the stuff we got coming out there because it's Halloween and Nerd Union. We really love it. So we got some good horror content coming out, along with a few articles that'll be Patreon specific. And those will eventually come out on the site for everyone, but Patreon users get those first. So they get access to it well in advance to get to chew and digest on that. And we also got some movie screens coming back up as well. Horror based this year because it's The Thing's 40th anniversary, which I got really excited about. And plus we'll do a screening just for our Patreon viewers. So really excited about that. So that's all we got today for State and Nerd Union. This is Commander Ship signing off. And as always, remember, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, just hit the bell notification if you're on YouTube, or go hit that like and follow button, and subscribe on Twitch or Facebook. All right, I'll talk to you later.